building on what I was talking about with my last guest and this rotation out of technology, now back into technology, we do continue to see a considerable amount of market breadth. I mean, the Dow hitting a record. Just walk us through exactly what that is telling you and the technicals that supports that.
Yeah, great to join you, Sam. I would say the market breadth could be telling us that this correction phase has completely completed, and I think price would confirm with that as well. So I've been kind of pounding the table on this with breadth over the last couple months because breadth has remained constructive. We've had the percentage of S&P 500 stocks above their 50 and 200 days has remained above 60% despite this recent corrective consolidation phase. And if we look down below at that chart that you have there at the bottom, the McClellan oscillator, which is another popular gauge of market breadth, it takes a 19 EMA minus a 39 EMA of net New York Stock Exchange advancers. Every time it crosses above zero, gives that buy signal there, and we just saw that yesterday. So as far as that corrective wave that we've been in the past 2 months, we can really take a look at that New York Stock Exchange new yearly lows list. And typically this list really peaks during corrective phases, and we've seen such a pullback from there. Now this list is really hitting lows not seen since really April, that last time that we had that corrective wave. So it is really supportive of price and momentum that we're seeing right now that this corrective phase is complete. And it looks like we're going to get some rotation back into tech to power this market higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Mag 7 recovery has been really interesting over recent sessions. As I mentioned, it was a mixed picture as far as what they had to say last week, but yet the market's seemingly gotten over, some of the misses that we saw. And yesterday we were talking about, as I mentioned, 4%, 5%, 6% gains. We continue to build on that today. You've got Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia all up over 1% this morning. What is that telling you?
Yeah, I think you've seen quite a bit of recovery in the Mag 7. Just from the ones that you mentioned, the biggest one, I believe, is Microsoft. So you're seeing these bottom reversals all across the board, but Microsoft just completed a massive 110-point double bottom formation. And with one of the largest stocks in the Mag 7, that's one of the major players that is continuing to push this index higher. That measured move from that base that you saw in Microsoft, that could lead another 100 points or so to the upside, place that stock right around 575, so well past those all-time highs. And of course, we always say that these patterns aren't guarantees, but they give us some guidelines of where the market could go and where we can react at some of these levels. And it seems like these gaps, that gap above resistance is specifically in Microsoft is holding there. We're seeing some aggressive buying off of the lows in Meta, maybe seeing a little bit of a pause today. We see Google at resistance. If that base completes, could take it much higher to all-time highs. Same with Nvidia as well. It's putting in a little bit of a double bottom as well that could place it at all-time highs. So one of the things with the rest of the market and the breadth being pretty strong, when you start to see these major players start to participate, you could see a very, very powerful move to the upside of a few hundred more points from the index level once these Mag 7 stocks all participate here.
Yeah, Microsoft putting on 1.5% today. Palantir off the back of its earnings up 25%, helping the IGV, no doubt. Some of these software names as well up 2-month high, 3.5% today. So software is well bid.
Jim Cramer frequently tells viewers that Nvidia chips are valuable because they are hard to come by. Now, Nvidia management has supported that claim with a number that most ordinary investors have probably never seen. Nvidia CFO Colette Kress informed investors during the May 20, 2026 earnings call that the firm is fully confident in the $1 trillion in Blackwell and Rubin sales it anticipates from 2025 through 2027, driven by demand for data centers. That is the most precise measurement of chip scarcity Nvidia has ever provided, and it represents ahead revenue visibility rather than booked sales. The business reported $119.0 billion in total supply-related commitments as of the Q1 FY 2027 filing to support that visibility with physical supplies, and Kress stated on the call that the total, including inventory purchases and prepaids, had increased to $145 billion. Demand visibility of $1 trillion over 2 product cycles is a projection disguised as a backlog statement. However, it also makes a statement about scarcity. Nvidia is informing shareholders, suppliers, and customers that it has more orders than it can fulfill. The restriction was made clear by CEO Jensen Huang. "I have a feeling that Vera Rubin's supply will be limited for the duration of her life." It is supported by the pricing evidence. A100 cloud pricing has increased by almost 15%, while H100 leasing fees have increased by 20% so far this year. Only when new supply is unable to meet demand does prior generation silicon start to appreciate. The P&L already reflects that backlog. Revenue for the first quarter of FY 2027 was $81.61 billion, up 85.23% year-over-year and 3.1% above forecast. Revenue from data centers hit $75.25 billion, up 92% year-over-year. Networking alone brought in $14.8 billion, up 199%. The non-GAAP gross margin increased from 60.8% to 75.0% in the previous year. Businesses with little pricing power don't print enormous gross margins on $81.61 billion in a single quarter. On August 3, 2026, shares closed at $206.64, compared to about $223 in the Q1 FY27 filing on May 20, 2026. There is a 7.43% decrease throughout the customs period, from the filing date to August 3. The stock is up 7.4% over the last week and 8.6% for the last month, with a year-to-date performance of plus 13.4%, indicating a recent change in momentum. The discussion over data centers is reframed by the $1 trillion figure. Critics claim that AI infrastructure depreciates more quickly than the market anticipates, and that hyperscaler capital expenditures will normalize. In response, Nvidia claims that analysts now predict that hyperscale capital expenditures will surpass $1 trillion by 2027, and that investment on AI infrastructure would reach $3 trillion to $4 trillion per year by the end of this decade. In contrast, only 2 product generations and 1 platform vendor are captured by the Blackwell and Rubin visibility. The backlog is reinforced by the diversity of customers. According to Cress, Nvidia infrastructure is installed in almost 40 countries, and the number of partner data centers with more than 10 MW has almost doubled in only a single year to approach 80 locations. Sovereign revenue has increased by approximately 80% in the past year. With approximately $20 billion in CPU sales visibility this year, Vera CPU alone opens what Huang referred to as a $200 billion TAM. Confidence is indicated by capital return. The board raised the quarterly dividend from $0.01 to $0.25 and approved an extra $80.0 billion in share repurchases. Without affecting the balance sheet, free cash flow of $48.55 billion in a single quarter, as opposed to $26.1 billion in the same period last year, bankrolls everything. Additionally, the stock is trading at a multiple of about 23 times anticipated profits, which must be balanced with the net income growth of 210.63% year-over-year. Long-term investors should see the $1 trillion Blackwell and Rubin revenue prediction as a forward-looking statement rather than a stated figure. Additionally, it is the most straightforward figure Nvidia has ever provided to describe what Cramer believes is developing on the surface: chips that retain their value due to a shortage. According to Q2 FY 2027 projection, revenue is expected to be $91.0 billion, plus or minus 2%, with a gross margin of 75.0%. If the business succeeds, the trillion-dollar amount becomes a blueprint rather than a catchphrase. Nvidia recently subtly changed investors' perceptions of its upcoming 10 years. It's a good story about chips. There is now a number for the software story. 3 is the number. As part of its agent toolkit expansion linked to SIGGRAPH 2026, Nvidia is publishing that numerous open-source Omniverse libraries on GitHub: OVRTX, OVPhysX, and CAD to SIM Ready. It sounds small to have 3 libraries. In reality, They integrate Nvidia's simulation stack directly into the 3D and CAD programs engineers already use, enabling AI agents to manage asset validation, physics, and sensor simulation without ever leaving Houdini, Onshape, or Blender. 3 open-source packages that are intended to make Nvidia the default runtime for physical AI development serve as the anchor. What it signifies. A software layer that matched the hardware has always been necessary for Nvidia's physical AI concept. That layer is this one. Within the tools they now use, Nvidia is interacting with developers. The libraries are being integrated into Houdini by SideFX. They are being integrated into Onshape by PTC. Agent-driven workflows are being developed by 4 Inception startups: ForgeCAD, Lightwheel, Moonlake AI, and Palatial. Each of those integrations serves as a lock-in point. The reported figures clearly demonstrate the financial scope of this software push. Data center networking sales was $14.8 billion, up 199% year-over-year, while Q1 FY27 data center revenue was $75.25 billion, up 92% year-over-year. With non-GAAP EPS of $1.87, compared to an estimate of $1.7738, total sales came in at $81.61 billion, up 85.2%. With a 75% non-GAAP gross margin, the business is projecting Q2 FY27 revenue of $91.0 billion, give or take 2%. The tell is those margins. Hardware by itself seldom operates at that level for very long. Software attaches itself. Since the Q1 FY27 filing, the stock has decreased. On August 3rd, shares were down almost 12% from their year-to-date high, trading at about $206.86. However, Nvidia has gained 5.78% in the last month and over 15% in a year. The compounding tail is still evident over longer time horizons, 916% over 5 years. With a PE of 31 and a forward PE of 23, the market capitalization is close to $501 trillion. On August 26th, Nvidia will reveal its Q2 FY27 financials. With a greater emphasis on the 3 library release, shares may rise ahead of the company's earnings call. Because it turns Nvidia's hardware lead into a developer standard, the 3 library release is significant. The physical AI era will be built in simulation first, stated Jensen Huang. If it is true, the training ground for all subsequent robots, autonomous vehicles, and industrial systems belongs to the corporation that owns the simulation runtime. The remainder of the R&D disclosure seems to support the same thesis. Nvidia unveiled an agent toolkit for creating self-governing enterprise AI agents, NemoClaw for the OpenClaw agent platform, and OpenShell with privacy and security controls. It introduced the new Cosmos and Isaac GR00T models, the Halos OS unified safety architecture, and Alpha Mayo 1.5 and Omniverse NUREC for autonomous driving. Hyundai, Kia, Uber, BYD, Geely, Isuzu, and Nissan increased their autonomous driving agreements. In terms of computation, Nvidia Dynamo 1.0 increases generative and agentic inference on Blackwell GPUs by up to 7 times, while the Vera Rubin platform and Bluefield 4 STX serve as the foundation for the upcoming generation. According to Huang's own interpretation of the appeal, agentic AI has arrived, doing productive work, generating real value, and scaling rapidly across companies and industries. As the only platform that operates in every cloud, powers every frontier and open-source model, and scales everywhere AI is created, from hyperscale data centers to the edge, Nvidia is ideally positioned at the center of this revolution. The operating story is supported by capital return. The board increased the quarterly dividend from 0.01 to $0.25 per share, authorized an extra $80 billion share repurchase, and gave shareholders a return of almost $20.0 billion in Q1. With 48 buy recommendations, 10 strong buy ratings, 2 hold ratings, 1 sell rating, and an analyst target price of $302.31, analyst posture is overwhelmingly positive. When you consider where the 3 libraries end up, within Houdini, inside Onshape, and inside the tools engineers currently rely on, they don't seem like a moat. Software ecosystems multiply in this way. Two catalysts from the input data should be monitored by long-term holders. First, developers will have access to local physical AI compute with the arrival of RTX Spark systems from Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Microsoft Surface, and MSI in the fall of 2026. Second, the next reported test of whether agentic and physical AI demand continues to compound is the Q2 FY27 guidance of $91 billion plus or minus 2%. There are 3 libraries. Just one thesis. A business that consistently makes it more difficult to leave its ecosystem. Designing and delivering cutting-edge graphics, compute, and networking technologies that are widely utilized in gaming and high-performance computing ecosystems across the globe is Nvidia's main source of income. In addition to announcing a 72% net income margin for the quarter that concluded on April 26, 2026, it recently collaborated with the Japanese government to establish a national infrastructure plant, developing high-performance microprocessors, chipsets, and graphics processing units specifically for personal computers, game consoles, and server environments is Advanced Micro Devices' main source of income. In addition to securing numerous significant infrastructure agreements and launching next-generation computing portfolios, it just reported a 14% net income margin for the quarter that concluded on March 28, 2026. Why retail investors care about revenue. Retail investors can evaluate a company's overall sales volume and scale using revenue as a fundamental metric. This statistic functions as an essential baseline indicator of total consumer demand and company expansion. Investors might learn more by comparing the revenue trends of Nvidia and Advanced Micro Devices, competitors in the semiconductor chip business that support the artificial intelligence industry. The significant difference between the two shows how dominant Nvidia is in the market. AMD doesn't seem likely to catch up to its rival anytime soon because the sales difference is just getting bigger over time. Although AMD has consistently increased sales year over year, it hasn't done so on a quarterly basis like Nvidia, which is a remarkable achievement and evidence of its ability to meet consumer demand. Nevertheless, since August 3, 2026, AMD's stock has increased by more than 120%, but Nvidia's shares have only increased by roughly 10%. After consistently surpassing Wall Street's expectations, Nvidia now needs to execute almost flawlessly in order to influence the price of its shares. Shares were unaffected by its July 16th announcement that it was collaborating with the Japanese government to create the first national AI infrastructure in history. In contrast, AMD is thought to have greater upside potential. This potential is indicated by agreements like this year's increased collaboration with Facebook parent Meta Platforms.